Hi, everyone. We're going to get started. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the AUSD Cash for College Dream Act presentation. This presentation will be recorded and uploaded to our high school and district websites. Today, we have a number of people joining us to make this event happen. If you haven't met me yet, I'm Elizabeth On. I'm one of the counselors at Marquepo High School. Today, we have from University of Laverne, Tammy Lewis presenting on the Dream Act application. In our questions and answer section, which if you have any questions, please enter it in the Q&A box. We have Mayela Del Rio and Janice Liu, counselors at Alhambra High School. We have Janae, a college advisor at St. Gabriel High School. Translating for us today, we have Spanish translator Nellie Chong and Mandarin translator Lilia Learn. We also have American Sign Language interpreter Daniela Herrera, and her video should be spotlighted so you can see her at all times. Before we begin our presentation, please take a few seconds to answer this poll so we know what schools we have with us today. So we still need 3 more people to vote. Please vote. All right, just 1 more person who needs to vote. All right. That's it for that. So now we will have Tammy Lewis presenting on the Dream Act application.
How's that? All right. First, I had to unmute myself so I can make sure that you can hear me. Again, my name is Tamara Lewis. I'm a financial aid counselor at the University of Laverne. I've been a counselor there for a long time. We won't even say it was back in the 1900s. And I'm going really slow so Miss Daniela can get all the good information and our other interpreters can interpret what I'm saying. One of the great things about the state of California, they have put together what is called the Dream Act. This allows our dream students, or dreamers, I like to call them, to be able to get some financial assistance to help them pay for college from the state of California. And that's what I'm going to tell you a little bit about. As a financial aid counselor, I do a little bit of a lot of stuff. So I'm going to go through the slides and I hope that you have your pencil and paper so that you can ask any questions that you might have and to get some better understanding. The California Dream Act, or the funds from the state of California, are administered through what you see as the California Student Aid Commission. That's who puts together this program and offers the funds. What, next slide. What requirements must be as a student meet to apply? You'll see those on your screen. You're looking for the requirements of an AB 540, and we'll go into the specifics a little bit later on in the slides. As the second bullet shows, you don't necessarily have to remember everything, but because there are different areas where you can go and get some additional information about the Dream Act application. Next. All right, here's those requirements for the AB 540s. Option A, you can see there's the 3 years of high school. I won't read them. You can read them on that screen for you. And then your option B is your high school. It's more of your adult high school, adult school, community college requirements in order to apply for the AB for the Dream Act. I always want to encourage students to apply no matter what somebody says, apply. My husband says that all they can say is no. So if you don't apply, then you don't even have the opportunity for these funds if you don't at least apply for them. Okay, next. All right, here's some more requirements for you when you are determining if you are eligible to apply for the Dreamer Cal Grant. Your graduation from a California high school, or you've earned an associate's degree, or you meet the minimum requirements to transfer to a CSU or a UC. And then number three, student file waive, non-resident tuition exchange students, waiver AB 540 affidavit with the college or university. Next.
I'm just going to interject for just a second. If you are looking for translation, be sure to click the globes and join the translation that's available for you guys.
Great. Okay. All right, sometimes there's a question about immigration status. I don't know if here's what the type of visa I have. I don't know if it's the right one. We'll talk a little bit about those more into the presentation. But right now, TPS stands for temporary protected status, or U visa holders, or T visa holders. And it tells you if you're one of those visa holders, whether or not you can apply for this, do the Dreamer application, or whether you would have to do what's called the actual FAFSA application. And we'll talk more about that. All right, so right now, this is what I kind of call a commercial break. And if someone was to ask a question, what if the student is unsure of their current immigration status? Then you'll go ahead on, and there's some websites that you can go to and some areas where you can go into and just take a check. You can actually just Google it. It's just that easy to find out if you meet the immigration status. And it's at this time, if anyone has any questions so far, but make sure I'm not going too fast. One question, little bitty question, everybody's good? Okay, let's keep going then. All right, so as we are getting ready to fill out your Dreamer application, I like to set the tone. It's difficult to fill these forms out if there's a lot of things going on around you. So you want to make sure that you are somewhere where it's kind of quiet, where you have information right in front of you. Students, if you're filling it out and you have your parent helping you, that everybody is rested, full stomach, ready to fill these out. You're gonna want to have your full name. You want to have your full name. My name is Tamara Lewis. It's actually Tamara, but my nickname is Tammy. So you want to make sure that the name that you're putting on the application is your full name, not a nickname, not a name you wish you had, but your full name. You want to have with you any passwords or usernames that you're using to get this to keep information. You want to have, this is really, number three is really important. You want to have an email address that just is geared to you and your financial aid journey. It's kind of hard to have one email and everybody sending you email from all over the place, and you're trying to go through which emails came from the Student Aid Commission. You should have a separate email. So make you a Yahoo or a Gmail that just has to do with your financial aid journey, because when you start this process, then they're going to respond to you at this email. You want to be able to find it. You want to make sure that you have a list of your PIN numbers, personal ID numbers. That's what PIN stands for, because you'll need it in certain times where you may have to go back on your Dreamer application and make a correction, and you'll need that PIN number. So you want to make sure you hold on to it. Think of it like having your password on your ATM card. It's just that important. Or if you start the process and something happens along the way and you don't want to try to find that PIN number. You want to have it somewhere safe. You also want to make sure you keep a list of your secret questions and answers. Oftentimes, when you have one of those accounts, you'll have your ATM, you'll have your password, and then it'll ask you, I can't remember my password, but here's your secret questions. And if you're anything like I am, well, I'm old, but you forget the secret question. I forgot what the question was, and I forgot what the answer was. And if the question is, who's your favorite? What was your favorite dog's favorite? What was your dog when you were 3 favorite color, or what color was it? You want to have all those answers to those questions somewhere handy when you're getting ready to start the application. Next. All right, here we go. On your mark, we are getting ready to do the California Dream Act application. Okay, right over on there, it says who can apply. You have your undocumented students with or without DACA, your TPS students, and your U visa holders. And then underneath there, it says additional requirements must be eligible to submit the non-resident tuition exemption. And fellows, this is really important for you. Males between 18 and 25 years old must register with the Selective Service. How do I do that? You can go online and you could just Google Selective Service, and then it'll come up and you'll put some information in there you'll put some information in there. You can go to the post office and pull up a Selective Service application and fill it out. Now, to the parents of these students, probably sometimes more moms than the dads, that does not mean that as soon as your son registers with the Selective Service, someone's going to come and knock on the door and have a uniform ready for him to go somewhere. Don't worry about that. That just means that in the case that something happens, they want to have a record of it. But it is a requirement for the fellows between 18 and 24 to complete the Selective Service application. Next. All right. Before you begin, here's your paper. Here's what looks like the paper application. The one on the PowerPoint that we have was this year. We'll talk about that and what you're going to do for next year, which is 2021-22. That's the application you're applying for. Again, 21-22. The application for students that have started college right now is 2021. You're going to do 21-22. I'd like to recommend to go ahead on when you go on that site, just print it out and then kind of look through everything on there. You can just kind of write on there, write some notes if you aren't sure about a particular question. I'll leave my email address, and you can always send me an email if you got the application and you're not sure about a particular question. You're more than welcome to send me an email and we'll talk about it. When you're looking at it, obviously that looks like a whole lot of writing and a whole lot of reading, but I can't press upon you how important it is that you know exactly how this works and what you need to do so that you are well aware of it and you're ready to go. Next. Okay, what this is saying is telling you that the California Dream Act application pretty much looks like what the FAFSA application looks like. And then we'll go through a couple things that are kind of similar and things that I want you to watch out for when you're completing the application. Again, this is a slide. It looks like it has a whole bunch of reading, but the items 1 through 10 on there and a little bit more, they are super important for you to read to help you understand what the California Dream Act what's going to happen and what you need to do in order to obtain it. And if there's any questions or if they send you something, that you know how to address it. So where it says instructions, you want to make sure that you read those instructions. Okay, next. All right, so let's talk about the demographics part of it. This is your name, your address, your phone number, your email. Again, we want to make sure we're putting our correct name, and then you want to make sure it's spelled correctly. I spelled Tammy, Tammy. Others spell it Tami. So you want to make sure when you're putting your last name on there, your first name, your middle initial, that it's correctly spelled. You want to make sure that you have the correct address on there and the city. All of those things are really super important so that when that information is made available for universities and colleges to upload it, if the name is spelled wrong, it takes us a little bit longer to pull that information into our system. And then you'll have to call us and ask us, and I sent it, it went over, I don't know what happened, and simply because the name is spelled wrong. So you want to make sure those are correct. Your email address, make sure that's correct on there so that they can let you know what's going on. Next. All right, so here's another section of it that's really important. And what I tried to do is put on here the slides that I think are really important and that sometimes students not clear on what to do. It's going to ask you your citizenship status and give you 3 choices. And you see those 3 choices on there. I am a US citizen, I am an eligible non-citizen, or I am not a citizen or an eligible non-citizen. You're going to put the one at the bottom. I am not a citizen or an eligible non-citizen. Okay, it's gonna talk about marriage status, and you want to put your marital status unless you're married. You want to put all that information on there. Okay, we're on another commercial break. This is an opportunity for you to ask, put something in the chat room if you haven't already, to ask a question here. This one says, where can a student go to get assistance if they have questions about completing the California DREAM Act applications? The best place to go is go straight to, we call it CSAC, SCAC, CSAC, California Student Aid Commission Student Support. And at the very bottom of the slide is the CSAC Student Support phone number. Trust me, they are super, super patient and in my experience, they are super, super patient, super, super kind and willing to answer whatever question that you might run across if you need to call them. When I have questions, even as long as I have been doing this, they have a university support system, phone number. And they are really, really kind and really, really nice if you run across any questions. Okay. We're still rolling. We're still going down that yellow brick road. All right, next.
There is somebody who raised their hand. Let me see. Andre, you can unmute yourself and then you can ask the question.
Hi, good evening.
Okay.
So I tried to fulfill it online, and when you start, you have an option. They ask you a few questions, and
Okay, I lost you.
Oh,
right.
You know what?
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. So you say if you choose that you're not eligible non-citizen, they say no. So basically they say you that you're not eligible for the grant. And I mean, what to do with this? And because the screen you was showing, they have this option, but right now when I was trying to do anything, they don't have this option anymore.
And what were you doing, the one for 2021 or 21-22?
I think it's okay. I just go to the website, the official website, and click the new user, yeah, and click all these buttons to continue. They don't say what year is it or anything.
Okay, then they may not have 20, sometimes I get mixed up. They may not have 21-22 up there. And I'm not sure because I don't have that particular screen up. I would give CSAC the student support phone number and I would ask them and they would definitely let you know.
Got it. So I can call them, right?
Absolutely.
Got it. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That's all my questions. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. If nobody else, we can move on. All right.
I believe there's another question.
Okay.
The question is, if I don't have 3 years of high school, shall I apply?
Well, one of the requirements is that you have 3 years of high school. I would probably call the student support service and see what other alternatives they may have if you don't meet those requirements. Anybody else?
No more questions. We can move forward.
All right. All right. So then now we're on some more questions that we highlighted on the PowerPoint that sometimes is questionable. And that is, what will your high school completion status be when you begin college in, now that should be 21-22 for those of you that are seniors, 2021 are those that are students that are here right now. So since you're in high school, then you're going to either get a GED, or you were homeschooled, or you're going to get your high school diploma. Now, one of the things, there's a deadline to submit this information to the California Student Aid Commission, and it's March the 2nd, 2021. So we're going to make the assumption that you guys are going to graduate from high school, that in 2020, 21-22, when it's time, you're going to have graduated, you're going to graduate. So you're going to put on there, Mike, what would your high school completion be in 21-22? A high school diploma. The next question on there is 28. It says, will you have your first bachelor's degree before you begin? And you will say no. And then what will your grade level be? And we can go to the next slide, and then that's a little more clear. All right, will you have your first bachelor's degree before you begin 21-22? And then you'll say no. And what will your grade level be when you begin in 21-22? And it'll be never attended college unless you have gone to junior college, if you graduated and you're going to junior college. And then number 30 says, what college degree or certificate will you be working on when you begin 21-22? And it's going to be your first bachelor's degree. Those are important that you answer those questions. And look, we're almost down to the end. Now here's where you can put the colleges, all the colleges that you are interested in attending, not all of them. In order to get these funds, they have to be colleges that are in California. So up at the very top, it says college search. If you're not sure of what's called the Title IV code or the school code, you have to have I think it's a 6-digit number, and each college and university has a code. If you're not sure, if you can't find it on their website, then just put the city, do a search, and then as you can see there, the colleges that are in Sacramento come up. The University of Laverne, our title code is 001216. So once you find the college code, you would stick it in there, and then they will list the college, and then you stick another one in there, and they'll list the college. They give you spots for 10 colleges. Now, if you have an 11th college that you're interested in, then you want to make sure that the universities or colleges that you have listed have already uploaded your information into their computer. If they can confirm that, then you can go back and delete that college and put another college in there. For these particular type of programs, you want to put the college that you really want to go to first. Because if you put, say, like CSU Sacramento, Sacramento City College, and you decide you put CSU Sacramento first, but you end up going to Sacramento City College, then you'll have to go back in there and put Sacramento first. Again, you want to put your first college choice up there, and then if you change your mind, you would need to go back, switch that to the first one. And then again, if you have an 11th college, you make sure, how do you make sure? Well, you just give the school a call. Hey, have you guys uploaded my Dreamer application yet? And those colleges, if they say yes, then you can go back in and delete that college and put the other college in there. All right, this is probably my favorite section of the Dreamers application, as well as the FAFSA application. It's asking what they have to do is determine what's called your dependency status. If you're a dependent student or a independent student. And they have a list of questions, as you can see there, that you have to say, in order to be independent, you have to say yes to one of these questions. Are you born before January 1? And it'll be 96 for your year. Are you married? Are you in a grad program? Are you in the military? Do you have kids that you support? Do you have legal guardians that you support? Now, if it's a mom and dad situation or a mom or dad situation, you aren't the legal guardian. This would be if mom and dad had a cousin and they were taking care of your cousin. That cousin would be their legal dependent. Or if you were independent and you had your cousin and you were taking care of your cousin and you went to court, and then you would be considered the legal dependent. If you say no to all of those questions, then you are considered dependent. Now, what I get a lot of time is, well, Miss Tammy, I have my own car, I live on my own, I have my own job, I do my own thing. I am dependent, not for purposes of getting some state funding. You have to say no to one of those questions. Now, there are times where as a counselor, we can override it if there is what's called extenuating circumstances. Your key word is extenuating. That means something is going on in your house where maybe social services had to get involved. Your counselor had to get involved. You haven't talked to your mom or dad in years, or something that extensive. Then we would look at it and see what documents that you have to support it. And then we could do a switch over to make you independent. Okay. Now, and then there's a risk of homeless. We'll talk about that later. All right. Now, if you notice across the top, the tabs, it's important that you know where you are. So now we're talking about the parent, not the student. And basically all you're doing is just look at the question and answering the question. That's all you're doing is looking at that, like number 75, did your parents start living in the state before January 1? And it'll have a different date. And it's either yes, they did, or no, they didn't. Okay, number 77 says, how many people in your parents' household? Be sure to include yourself, mom or dad or both, a sister, a brother, and sometimes maybe if you have your grandparents living with you, you can count your grandparents, but you cannot count your girlfriend, your neighbor's friend down the street, your buddies. You have to count only the people that your parents are taking care of. And it's during a certain period that they're taking care of. Okay, any questions about that? About who is part of the household? All right, next. Okay, so we're still on the parent section. So now it comes to the income for 2018. Now this is 2018. You will be doing 2019. Income regarding 2019. Have your parents completed a IRS tax income return, tax return, or another return? It's either yes, they did, no, they didn't, not going to file. All you're doing is answering the question. Okay. As of today, are either your parents a dislocated worker? Okay, you can put yes or no or I don't know. If you're not sure, then just when you do the drop down box, just put I don't know. We don't consider dislocated workers people who just quit their jobs or decided that I don't want to work. Okay. All right, and then up top there, the 80, you just want to make sure 80, 81, 82, 83, you just want to make sure you're marking what is happening in your household for the parents. Okay. All right. I left this slide in here is because this is a common error that I see a lot when I'm looking at DREAM Act applications as well as FAFSA applications. This is why it's really important to read the question before you answer it. This particular question is asking for what is your adjusted, this is the parent again, what is your adjusted gross income? And then on the application, it will even tell you, as you'll see down at the bottom, it will tell you where to find the information on your FAFSA, not your FAFSA, on your tax returns. It'll tell you exactly where to get that information. Just look at, like this gave you example, it's the 1040 line 21. Now 1040 EZ, we don't have those anymore, but you would look at your 1040 and then whatever line item is on there, then it'll tell you what to put. Now the big mistake comes in number 90. That one is what enter the amount of taxes paid. In this case, it looks like this particular person made 62,000 and they got taxed they paid taxes of 62,000. So they made 62,000 and they gave it all back. That's kind of like what that looks like. And then it causes an error. And later on in the slides, I'll tell you where they'll put that information that I want you to make sure you see so that you can go back and make the correction. But that's a common error that not only with the Dreamer application, but for the FAFSA application as well. Okay, next. All right, oftentimes I get questions about, well, my parents don't live in this country. If your parents live in another country, still have to have information, tax information, income information rather, about them. What they would have to do is whatever is equivalent to taxes here and taxes in that country, they still have to get those to us, and then they have to convert that income in the other country to this country's income. So you have to convert it, send the paperwork still, or add it on there. What did you make in that country equivalent, and how is it to say, I mean, what is equivalent to here in this country? Again, even if your parents live in another country, still have to have their income information. Okay. All right, so we're almost done with the application. Woo! Now we're getting down to the sign part. Again, you're going to read, you're going to take your time and you're going to read all the information that's listed there. And then the student can sign the application by simply checking the box at the very bottom. And then the parents will have the opportunity to sign after the student, or log in log on and sign it at another time. Will parents have to sign it? Yes. Parents must, it doesn't have to be both parents, it can be one or the other. But a parent has to click a box as part of the signature before it will be processed. The California Student Aid Commission, because they get so many applications, they are very strict on the information that they need on this application. Okay, next. All right, just like the FAFSA application, once you have submitted it, and then you will get back an email. This is where the email comes in, and that email will let you know that it's being processed, and that if there's something wrong, you'll get this message, something that you might need to go in and fix. I would suggest that you do that right away and get that out the way. Anything that needs to be fixed or anything that needs to be signed, any invalid data, you want to get that taken care of right away. All right, and this is where the confirmation page, this is where I was telling you that if there is something that you need to fix, it'll show here. If there's something that you missed, it will show here. It seems like a lot of reading, but it's that important. It is super important for you to read all of this and make sure. And if you run into the thing I want to stress upon you, do not get nervous, don't get frightened. Either call them, the California Student Aid Commission Student Help Desk. They will help you with any questions. If you get a hold of my email, you can send me an email and say, hey, I don't understand this section of the application. And then I will do my best to help you out. All right, we're at another commercial break here. And then you can read that slide. It just says if you don't receive notification or updates, you want to call them. You do not. This is Miss Tammy. I'm fixing my glasses. You do not want to wait. I haven't heard anything from them, and it's been 3 months. You should have called 2 months ago. You want to make sure that everything is going, because they get a lot of applications. And during this pandemic, things have been delayed a little bit because of what's going on with this pandemic. So you want to make sure that you follow up with them. At the bottom, it says student support. It's the number again for you to keep it close to you so that you can give them a call and make sure that everything went through. They're a very nice group of people.
We have a question. I'm sorry. In Spanish, there's a question about when you say colleges, do you mean universities?
Well, Cal Grant, there's three Cals. There's an A, a B, and a C. C is for junior colleges. So you'll be looking for either Cal Grant A or a B. And it's kind of interchangeable. University, colleges, kind of same thing.
We have another question, and this is a question about when will I be able to watch the recording of the webinar?
Oh. When will you be able to watch? That one I can't answer.
This will be all uploaded online by the end of next week.
Thank you.
All right, and the next slide, I think I have one more. Oh, this is just a sample of the selective service information that the fellows need to make sure that they fill out. Look at that, was easy. We're already down to the survey. I'd like to press upon you the importance of completing the survey. It helps the district, it helps the schools. It's a big help in some of the funding that they receive. So it's super, super, super important that you do this exit survey and that you hear people say, hey, give me a 10. You want to do something, you want to make sure that you complete it and get that information to them. Please. I'm good. Thank you. There's the websites, www.csac@california.gov, your dream.csac.california.gov, my grant info. There's the support number. Again, we want to just keep on making sure that you're able to get that information. And I'm so glad you attended. Thanks for being proactive and coming out and getting this information.
So we have a last chance to ask any questions. I'm going to move it right over back to the survey. So if anyone wants to take the survey right now, take a picture of it. There's a QR code. We are going to accept questions in the Q&A. And we'll give you guys a couple minutes. And again, I just want to remind everyone that this is being recorded, so it'll be available on our district website, so you can view it. And if you have any more further questions, you can find our contact information on the AUSD website under Career Technical Education. Okay, so we have a question asking if we can go back to the application and the change of list of colleges. I will go back to that slide. Again, take a picture of this survey before I move backwards. So if you can, whoever was looking for the slide, if you just let us know that this was the correct slide that you wanted to see. And again, Tammy, and does this work the same way as the regular, not the regular, but as FAFSA works as well, where if they have more than 10 colleges, they just need to wait for the confirmation?
Yes.
Okay. So if you have more than 10 California colleges that you want to apply for, and you want your application for financial aid to go to the college, then you will need to wait for confirmation that your DREAM Act application went through and was processed, and then you can go ahead and edit the colleges to add any more additional colleges.
And then one of the things too, you want to make sure that you do is you want to contact these different colleges and ask them what type of institutional funding do they have that's not based on anything but your GPA. You just did a fantastic GPA. What kind of program do you have for Laverne? I can only use Laverne as an example. We have what we call merit funding, where if your GPA is at a certain level, then they offer you a particular amount of funding and you guarantee that for the 4 years that you are here at the university. You don't have to complete a DREAM Act. You don't have to, for us, you don't have to, it's just strictly based on your GPA. So you want to make sure you tap in to that, and you want to tap into scholarships. I can't press that enough. Just keep applying for scholarships. Because a couple of $50 scholarships, $100 scholarships, those add up.
Okay, and I do not see any additional questions. Again, you guys can find our information on the district website. This is a very helpful slide that we have here where you can contact DREAM Act application support directly. And thank you so much, Tammy, for hosting us.
Oh, thank you. I love seeing people, so so I'm glad that you came along on the Zoom.
Yes, thank you so much. And everyone have a good evening.
Thank you, Daniela. I really liked watching you.